work it out. It is nice to be able to walk from your house, about a quarter of an hour walk, and then all of a sudden you're on a beach, which is fairly much to yourself. It's hardly a busy beach. So that's pretty good. There's a sign up there. Can't see what that says. Private property, I can read that. Some people maybe have been going over to where the old beach shack is. So that's a new sign, I think. Anyway, that's where the work is, over there. So I'll head up that way and just see whether the surface of the bike trail bridge is taking shape. Yeah, I can see that those forms are definitely in there. So there's progress being made there. Not sure what they have to do, whether they have to fill them up with cement. But it looks as though some progress has definitely been made, and that's good. So no idea what the ETA is for the project, but that's good. So that's positive news. And don't know if people saw it in the newspaper. I think there was someone, might have been the Northern Territory, an Englishman or something, fishing right next to where a gigantic freshwater croc was. He was only a few metres away from him. I don't know, 10, 20 metres max. I mean, a reptile that size could move pretty damn fast, and that fisherman would be history. So, pretty crazy thing to do. If I saw some sort of a croc that large, I'd be keeping a huge distance from them. So, very, very strange. Wow, it's an amazing day. I've already gone for a bike ride today on my e-bike, and it was pretty easy going. So, especially on the return leg down Poolwood Road, that was, I got over 31 k's an hour at one point. I was really moving. So yeah, it was quite a decent run today. But I'm just not doing it enough to justify having that bike at the moment, to be honest with you. Police will be notified. I also had a few trespasses, by the looks of things. Not the most welcoming sign on earth. It's Friday, and it looked like it was going to be a pretty good day up until I checked the Vietnamese immigration portal and found that they'd put my application on hold because the name was incorrect, not the same as in my passport. The form actually asked for my surname and my first name, not names. I've got I've got two names. I've got the first and second name and the surname. But because of that, now it's basically, I don't know, it's stuffed. I tried to get on to change it, but I couldn't confirm my email. It wouldn't work. There's a lot of glitches with the system. And basically, I'm stuffed at the moment. I actually contacted a supposed helpline regarding Vietnam visas, but I think it's a private company using a bullshit email address that looks as though it's a government one. I mean, you get some weird things happening over there, but I'm so frustrated. I'm just going to try getting to the e-bike up to Coles today on a long ride, and hopefully it'll exhaust me and take the tension out, because I don't want to abort this trip. I may have to use an agent, just forget about going through the government website and pay double the amount to use an agent, and just to make sure I get this visa, because it's just been horrible. And I'm not the only person going through the hoops with it too. I know that for a fact, because I've been looking at the Vin Express, which is a newspaper in Vietnam, and they've been getting a lot of negative feedback about it. So, like I said, I'll hit the road with the e-bike, see how far I go. I may not even get all the way to Coles, but I'll have a go at it and just work out some of this frustration. That's the idea anyway. Fingers crossed. I didn't make it to the Coles at Clifton Beach. I went past the second, over the second footbridge and just decided, no, I'm not enjoying this much. This bike is too big and too heavy for my liking, and I won't be riding it along that route again, I don't think. So when the new bike track's done, I might check it out, but I might just think about selling it, to be quite frank. I don't think it's got much long-term use for me. As a matter of fact, I think a tricycle would be a lot more useful. If I can find a decent electric tricycle online, that'd be good for deliveries and stuff. But as far as this is concerned, I don't know. I mean, I've been using my old Kmart bike more than this one because it's more than adequate to get me up to Trinity Beach shops where the GP and pharmacy is and the pathology. So that's doing it fine for me. So I have to think very seriously about it. So I'll get a bit of money back on it. There's nothing wrong with it. So I don't know if I'll lose that much. And, you know, I just learned something from the experience, but I just don't think I've got a future with this bike. Anyway, I'm going to try again with the visa. What I might do is check out some forums. It seems to be the best way to get up-to-date information on these sorts of hassles. So I'll look up an e-visa Vietnam forum and see if everybody's got any clues, because I can't, it's frustrating I can't even send an email to the people. There's just no way of complaining, or, you know, because it's such a simple thing to change, and if I just knew someone was onto it, I'd be feeling a lot better. But it's just they're just bureaucratic, and they've just basically put a block up simply because the data doesn't match what's in the front page of my passport. They've got that anyway, so why don't they just transpose it? It's just crazy. But it's bureaucracy gone mad, and they're going to do themselves some damage with their tourism, because there's a lot of people having problems getting these new 90-day visas. Head off to happy hour, and as you can see, the weather's superb, still fantastic, very consistent, and I think hopefully I've got my issue with the Vietnam 90-day visa sorted out. I was finally able to get onto the site and change the name. And I noticed that for some reason my passport number had changed on that form. So thank God I checked it all. And so I went through, checked the details, and resubmitted it, and it appears to be in the process again, but God knows how long it's going to take and whether there's going to be another issue brought up. My level of confidence in their system is pretty low. It's obviously this function has been handballed to new bureaucrats in Hanoi, in the Ministry of Security, and they're much more into details and yeah, it's just creating a lot more hassles for everybody, and so there's no way of contacting them, unfortunately, to get issues resolved quickly. You just have to basically persevere with the forms, and if they don't work, you're stuffed. So it really can be quite difficult. So I'm quite a bit stressed out, and I'm really looking forward to a drink. I'm heading up to the shops, a major mission to get some Parmesan cheese, which I forgot the other day. I don't like my chances. It's only a small sort of supermarket, but they're quite reasonably priced, and you just never know. There might be something there. The thing is, if I get the bus, it'll cost me $3. I wouldn't do it today anyway. Sunday they run at 1 hour intervals, so not really practical, and I do need the exercise anyway. And it is a beautiful day. You can't knock the weather. It's fantastic. Be sort of mid to high 20s. My cousin emailed me the other day because she's having a few health issues, so I just wanted to make sure she wasn't in any pain, because she's awaiting an op. and she said it was bloody cold down in Melbourne. So yeah, I think it's getting to her. Probably makes it worse that she was in the Gold Coast about a week prior to that, so the contrast would be quite stark. And if I do make it on this trip, and there's no guarantees considering that I have a major issue with my visa for Vietnam, I'm not convinced that I'm going to get it, certainly not in time anyway. I'm very worried about it actually, but if I do, then it'll be good, because I just actually finally arranged my health insurance today. Sorry, health insurance for overseas travel, I should say, travel insurance. And I didn't go with Zoom because they rejected me, because I had a pre-existing condition that put me out of the running. And I tried a couple of other sites and I got the same stuff, and I haven't had this happen before. I don't know if they're tightening up on that, or it's these companies I'm dealing with, because I actually went back to a company, ended up just signing up with NIB, and I'd used them the previous trip. I think when I went overseas, I think I did last year. I think I used them last year, and because I didn't even get to the stage of doing health insurance for the April trip, because I pulled out before I committed to anything like that. So, but this time I'm taking it out, because it also includes cancellation insurance. I think $2.5 grand, which is not bad. It's actually quite a good policy. It's about $330, and for that money, getting medical and something like that is quite a decent deal in my opinion. I'm also covered for mopeds, riding on the back of those motorbikes in Vietnam, as long as the bike is 250cc or less, and they probably are, because grab riders aren't going to be wanting to burn up a lot of juice when they're doing their job. So I'd say that Vietnamese bikes in Saigon aren't overly powerful, but I'm only guessing because I've got no idea. I'm not a driver, so I'm just guessing. But the point is, I got knocked back by about 3 different insurers, and what I couldn't work out is that they said that if you've got a pre-existing condition, they won't cover you for anything. And I thought, that doesn't make much sense. I mean, maybe I got this wrong, but the way it was worded, it sounded as if you had any sort of a medical condition overseas, you were out. I mean, the thing is, the pre-existing condition I've had for over a decade now, and I claimed insurance when I was in Vietnam, and I got it because it wasn't relating directly to that. So I don't know if there's different policies, or I'm misreading it. It doesn't make sense to me if you don't specify a pre-existing condition. Then you just don't get covered for it if something happens. And they'll do their investigation and find out, of course. That's what insurance companies do. They do everything in their power to avoid paying out claims. And but I was upfront about it, and that's what happened. It's exactly the same questionnaire for a number of companies too. And the thing about these corporate entities these days is it could be the same company and just under a different banners, which happens all the time. So, but I went back to NIB, and they didn't have any problems. I mean, obviously I'm not covered for pre-existing, and that's fine, I accept that. But, you know, you can have injuries, and you can have other stuff happen to you, and I had an intestinal blockage when I was in Vietnam a few years back, so it was a major abdominal surgery required, and it was all covered, and that was actually on my credit card. So it took a long time to get the money, about 4 months, but I got it. So yeah, I haven't had any problems with insurance companies over the years, but I do read the documents, and you need to know where you stand, because most people, you know, I don't blame them. They couldn't be bothered going through all of that. It's like going back to school, I suppose. You could read one of those documents, or qualifying as a lawyer. It's all legal speak. So yeah, so I've actually got insurance, which is a bit of a relief because I was worried. Now, it may not help me out even if I have problems with this, the visa. Even if I don't get it before my flight, I may still be stuffed as far as claiming any insurance for a cancellation or truncation of a trip, because I'm hoping that if the worst comes to worst, I've got tickets, airline tickets, that I can vary the dates on, so I could push the trip back a week or more, and just see how I go there. I'm going to be out of pocket a bit from it, but at least I'll still get over there. But you know, fingers crossed, the visa is processed and I finally get it next week. But the actual date it's due is only about 3 days before the flight. Cutting it very fine. Anyway, hope I get we've got some shredded parmesan cheese at the friendly grocer. Worth a try anyway. And as I say, it's a lovely day for a walk. Nicer walking along the beach, but it's not too busy today. Sunday is a good day to get out and have a walk or a bike ride. And this is a Sunday that actually is sunny, and it's nice for a change. Fine parmesan cheese there. $4 or $1.25. That's okay. Haven't tried that brand, but that's quite reasonable. So that was a good find. I usually get the $2.50, but $4 is very good for a local shop. They're good value, that place. So that was a surprise. I actually had the Mill ones as well for over $9, which get a bit steep, but for all I know, they could be $8 at the supermarket, because I don't generally buy that brand. I buy the home brands, which are about $6.50 or $6.15, but or $6.25 I should say, but they used to be about $4.30, $4.50, about the price of this one, for twice as much. But those are the good old days before our major inflationary push. So, but like I said, I didn't think there'd be any. I thought I looked at the other cases, thought, oh, they're not going to have parmesan, but they had different varieties, so pretty good, really. A lot of traffic here at the moment. It's a busy time of the day, about 3 o'clock on a Sunday. Didn't bring a bag for my parmesan, but I know it's only a 20-minute walk, so it should be alright. As long as a dog doesn't attack me and try eating it. You've had $1 for every electric scooter I've seen in this suburb. I'd be a very wealthy man. Beach, looking towards Palm Cove down the beach there, with Kewarra behind me. And this is the bridge, and they have definitely made a lot of progress. That's looking quite solid, so that's as much as I guess I could expect. So I'm fairly happy with this. This looks like they've done the full span, by the looks of things, of Deep Creek, and not sure what's happening up this end, because that seems to be the end of the spans. We've got anything here? Oh, there is some other. Oh no, there are some other sections here that need to be connected, but that's looking pretty promising. It could be a matter of months before that's opened, I'd say. So as we go further down, you can see the creek there behind me now, so I haven't seen that before. So looks like it's skirting the creek to a large extent. But they've still got to extend it obviously down here. But, you know, it's definitely progress has been made, and that's the main thing. And then I guess once it gets over that last one there, then we're back on terra firma, and then you just connect to the road that goes down there in Clifton Beach. So yeah, doesn't look like they've got that much to do. Hopefully I'll get a move on. Looks like all the foundation work's done. They've just got to put some more slabs on there. I don't know if they've got prefabs or they've got to put stuff in specially. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you or entertainment or whatever, and either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.